So, Friday?
Friday.
Behold the Underminer! I hereby declare war on peace and happiness! We're gonna lose him! Trampoline me!
Oh, Tony! Hi. This isn't what you think it is.
Underminer! We meet again! Bye-bye! The Underminers escaped!
We have to stop this thing before it gets to the overpass.
Looks like we have company.
Well, this is a minor inconvenience.
We've declared war on the surface world. You'll never stop us.
You guys really should have stayed underground.
LEGO Incredibles. This is the latest game by Traveller's Tales, not Telltale Games. For some reason I confuse the two, even though they make completely different games. And this is, of course, on the LEGO Incredibles movies. Now, interestingly, it starts with the second movie, probably because the second movie just came out, and I think this game came out on the release date of the second movie. But because of that, if you haven't seen the second movie yet, you're going to want to skip about the first half of the game for this walkthrough series if you don't want to get it spoiled. Although, seeing how they butchered the storyline of the first movie in this game later on, because you do get to play it in the second half of the game, I can't say how accurate the storyline is. I'm sure they keep pretty close to it, but I'm pretty sure they also mess up a lot of it just to keep it in line with the LEGO sense, and also because, you know, it'd be kind of boring if they made the exact same thing when they can have so many fun options to do with the LEGO. So at the beginning of this level, of the very first level we're going to do, is really just going to be a huge tutorial level, which means these videos are going to be pretty pointless, but I'm going to make them anyway because I like making videos. And at first we're just going to learn a lot of different combat stuff, and
Bob, the monorail!
Frozone! Yeah!
Who's steering this thing, Bob? That driving is worse than yours.
No one! We're trying to stop it!
We need to get past this gear. Can you freeze it in place?
Yeah, but it's not. They should be able to flash straight.
And there was a cutscene there that I forgot to edit out. So anyway, first we're going to learn a bunch of combat stuff, and also how to use the characters in most of the ways you're going to need them later on. We're going to spend most of the game playing as the Incredibles family. We'll also play as Frozone and a few other heroes from time to time, but not really too often. So here Frozone can make a giant ice sculpture to stop this big gear, and throughout the game he'll be doing a couple of other things that will be very useful. There's a bunch of different attacks that each character can use. They can punch people normally, they can super smash them by rapidly mashing the X or whatever button shows up on your screen, and you can also get a super ability where you just hold X and then mash it, and then you get to do a big superpower thing. But most of those take a while, and it's for that reason that I don't really use them that much. I also like to use people like Mr. Incredible or later on Violet because of his ground slam or her ground slam. They do a lot of damage, and they can damage the enemies, like 4 of them at once, which is a lot better than trying to take out all 4 of them one at a time. As usual, if you've played LEGO games before, you should be used to these big breakable walls that are only breakable from strong enemies, in this case, or strong heroes, in this case Mr. Incredible, and for some reason you have to do a slow-mo punch through the wall type of thing when you do break these walls. If you go up to them and just push X, sometimes you'll punch the wall and then nothing will happen. You have to like sit back a step and then push X to go through the slow-mo animation. I don't really know why we have to do that, but it does look cool, so I guess there's that. As usual, glowing bricks and big giant arrows are going to lead your way. We can use Elastigirl here to stretch through vents, which is a little bit different from most LEGO games where you have to be like a tiny character to go through. So we're going to use her to stretch and pull down on the switch here, and we're going to be doing this pretty often.
I'm going to head up there. Get ready to throw me to that overpass.
Right behind you, honey.
I probably need to get rid of this cart first. Come on, Bob, throw me! Stop! Everybody stop! Heads up, Dad!
Dash! I'm gonna get a hold of this. Whoa! Whoa!
Dad, are you okay down there?
Yep, all good, sweetie. Just a little stuck. Can you build something to get us inside the tunneler?
You mean after we save these citizens, right?
Sure, I'll just hang out here. You guys will have to work together, though.
You got it, Dad!
So once we're done with that, we're going to be here with the digger kind of all broken apart, and we're going to get the rest of the Incredibles family to play with here, and we're also going to see a big Pixar family build, which you'll be seeing pretty often throughout the game, where there's going to be many levels where we're going to have to collect a certain amount of these building bricks to get through the Pixar building part, and then the overworld, which I'll be going over once we get there, is going to have a bunch of Pixar family build locations for you to build some pretty cool stuff, actually, if you want to spend the time to collect all of that. We can use Violet to open up her sphere, and then we can switch to another character and then use that character to jump into her sphere as if it were a vehicle. It's a little bit weird at first because the game can screw up who you're switching to pretty easily. I suggest that you use the bumpers on your controller, or I'm sure on the PlayStation it's R1, L1. I don't know what it is on the PC, but I suggest you use the buttons to switch characters and not like Y. It's better to cycle through them. Just because sometimes a game, and this has been a problem in all LEGO games, it'll just randomly pick a character for you to play as and take forever for you to get the one that you want to be. As far as the LEGO game goes, this actually was a pretty good one. I had a lot of fun with it. They went way overboard with the humor, which is not a bad thing at all. That was hilarious. There were tons of humor. There was tons of humor in it. They did a really good job playing with all the jokes of the Incredibles movies and making it even funnier by turning it into LEGO form. I have an all cutscenes video link in the description if you want to see all the cutscenes for this game at once, but of course I do suggest that you buy the game. It's not really too expensive. It's about 40 bucks on PC, and I think it's around that on the consoles too. It's available on Xbox and PlayStation, PC, I'm guessing the Switch. I don't know about the Switch though. There might even be some handheld kind of version. I don't know about that. The voice acting was surprisingly good. I don't know if they got the original voice actors for this. I never know if they do because they sound close enough in LEGO context to me. I don't know if they got the original voice actors to do some of the extra lines that they obviously needed, or if they were leftover lines from the movies, or if they just got people that sounded like them and, you know, put enough noise in the background that you can't tell. So, I don't know. They did an okay job with this game, though. I was pretty surprised. The overworld wasn't annoying, and I did not have too many game-breaking glitches. I did have one crash later on, and I'm going to complain about it when I get there because that level was a little bit lengthy. But Besides that, I didn't have any issues doing the puzzles. The puzzles were pretty challenging enough, but not, you know, so overboard that I got stuck on any for a too absurd amount of time. And I think this just was a really well-made game. The levels don't feel cluttered like pretty much every single superhero LEGO game has felt, and I am hoping they make more games like this one. There's about 120 characters or so that you can unlock, and you get them with these packs. I'm sure you can buy them later, maybe. I haven't really checked in on that too much, but you do get these LEGO packs, and if you've ever gone to the store like Target or something, and you see by the cash register they have those random LEGO minifig packs you can buy for like $5, and they just have a random minifigure in them. That's what the packs in this game look like. And when I saw those, I was a little bit worried, like, oh no, there's not loot boxes in this game, are there? And in a way they kind of could be, but I don't think you can pay real money for them in any way. And they haven't really done DLC for a LEGO game, except maybe for LEGO Dimensions in a while, because they had tried DLC a few times, and I don't really know how well that's caught on. I know the last LEGO Marvel game had a bunch of DLC levels, and I never did the last like 3 of them. And I think it's just kind of hard to remember to go back to play a LEGO game when you're done, especially when they release 2 a year. You know, they're releasing another one later this year with LEGO DC Supervillains. I'm actually looking forward to that one. So Mr. Incredible can also throw people, and if you're having a hard time sort of aiming where you're throwing, which will happen later on in the game, you can push and hold X on the Xbox controller anyway to aim where you're going to throw them, and you want to throw them onto a railing that they can touch. And once we have all 4 of those bricks, which you should have been able to see me getting throughout my rambling, we're going to step on the family build plate, and we're going to rapidly mash the B button. This game also had a couple of moments where I thought it would be easier on co-op, and I think this would be one of those spots. This part isn't hard, but if you wait too long, then someone else's build meter will go down, so you're going to have to switch back over to get it up, and then it's going to build a big thing that we need to keep continuing on with this part of the level.
Time for a little DIY.
Sure you can handle that, Dad? You didn't do such a great job putting together the barbecue grill.
Okay, it's showtime. He's headed for City Hall!
They're out in public again! This is our chance! Follow them!
Wow, we're here, Mom! We're here, Mom!
Come on, the engine room's this way.
You two stay close. Don't wander off.
So in classic LEGO fashion, they tend to go a little bit overboard with level 1. This one is probably one of the longest levels in the game. I think it's close to 30 minutes. And that's including the cutscenes. If you skip the cutscenes, of which there's about 90 minutes of in this game, then I'm sure the level's a little bit shorter. So we're inside of this big digger thing now, and we have to use Elastigirl to stretch across the gap so we can actually climb on her with the rest of the family. So stretching with her has actually been one of the more interesting LEGO mechanics that they've introduced in a while. I think that's kind of fun how they did that. I wish they did a little bit more things with that with the Fantastic Four and the Marvel games. I think they could have had a... Maybe they did. I didn't play the Marvel games in depth that much, so maybe they did have some stretchy things, but I don't remember having to use the stretchy guy from the Fantastic Four very much for anything, so I don't know about that. But they did a really good job with using all the different characters' heroes' powers. Does that sentence even make sense? They did a really good job making all the heroes feel like they had different powers. Let's put it that way. So of course Dash gets a super speed, and as we did in the previous part, there's going to be treadmills and other sort of tubes that he's going to run around in to accomplish things. Violet's going to be really useful. There's another cutscene that I'm probably just going to talk over here. This might be a little bit of a cutscene, I don't know. But anyway, so they're just saying that they're going to throw coal into the fire and have to keep it burning, something like that. I don't know. I'm talking over it. Play the game if you want to see the cutscenes. And Violet's going to, like I said, is going to be one of the more useful ones. At least she feels that way, and she has a ground slam power like Mr. Incredible, like that one, because she can use her force field. And the other two, fighting with Dash and Elastigirl, are just not fun. I did not like having to kill people with them, and when I did, I always jumped and attacked because that just seemed to work better than regular punching. Some of the enemies in this game are really annoying too. They're gonna kill you just by sort of standing there. There is one enemy that's just gonna kill you just by standing still, and it's really just aggravating. But that's a good thing. Enemies are supposed to be annoying. You're supposed to kill them, but as usual, pretty much everything you do in this game is going to make you invincible while you are doing it. So if you're building something, you'll be invincible. If you're doing this, you'll probably be invincible. Here we have to get Dash to jump into Violet's bubble so we can create enough power to send the elevator up. And because you're invincible while you do stuff in this game, then you won't really have to worry about dying by a bunch of enemies around you, which makes it very easy to ignore them completely. So you don't really have to fight anything but the bosses if you absolutely wanted to play that way. And it's up to you. I tried to spend a little less time fighting just because this is a walkthrough. I want to get through the levels, and if you're playing on your own, it might, you'll probably have more fun. Don't really have to worry about the length of your video when when you're playing this game. So when we're up here, this is Elastigirl's super attack, which is actually pretty cool. Or I guess her incredible attack. I don't really know what to call it, but that one's actually pretty cool. She stretches and punches everything, and it's pretty good for taking out a screen of enemies. And then we're going to want to build that pusher thing, or that puller, I don't know, the suction cup. But first we have to push the crate of coal over, and then we can activate it, and that will move all the coal into the fire here. Well, that little mini scene took a lot longer than I thought it would, but we are finally nearing the end of level 1 here, and as we saw, that big giant platform fell down, and there was a spot for somebody to use it, and who else would that be but Mr. Incredible? So not only can he destroy big walls with cracks in it, but he can lift heavy objects, which he will be doing very often in this game, which should definitely be expected. So I'll just come over here, rapidly mash the B button, and lift up the platform. Then I think we're gonna have to step inside of here with somebody else. I don't know who else we're... Oh, okay, Elastigirl. That's right up on the top there. So jump up here, and then we'll be able to get this turning and finally actually blow up this big digger machine. And once we get that done, that'll be it for level 1, and I'm going to continue this walkthrough on in level 2 of LEGO Incredibles.
Something else happened today. With a kid and my mask.
Freeze, Supers!
What did we do?